Hello, this is Hasnan from International Medical University, and the topic I'm going to cover is scenario-based learning and how we could use scenario-based learning in simulation and gamification for improving the diagnostic skills. So the objective of my talk, about 15 minutes, would be how scenario-based could assist us in improving diagnostic skills and how the simulation and gamification elements improve our diagnostic skills. So just to share with you, anybody can recognize any icon or logo here. Yeah, so we do have Poll Everywhere, Kahoot, all these are tools which we normally use for engaging our learners in asynchronous or synchronous mode mostly. Yeah, so here my focus would be on virtual medical clinic and how we could incorporate scenario-based learning and gamification into virtual medical clinic cases and how we could engage learners. How many of you know this icon and how many of you played this game, right? If I share my personal experience, I have spent hours playing this game. It's actually Angry Birds, right? And the technique was very simple, or is very simple. You track the birds, seems to be angry, and you have to actually throw these birds to a structure and destroy their structures. And uh, the way it designed, it actually will not let us get bored. So and level keep on increasing the complexity in higher levels. So that's the whole concept of gamifications where you adjust. And in my next slide, I will be talking in detail. And the gamification budget or market is more than 30 billion by 2025, and this prediction was before pandemic. So even during pandemic, we noticed that most of us play more games. The only challenge here is how we could get into seriousness of these games and incorporate into medical education, okay, into medical scenarios and all that, right? Yeah, so here I would like to share zone of proximal development, and that's where we have to adjust the level of challenge we have on y-axis, and on x-axis is the level of competence. So we want to achieve both of these parameters to their maximum, but how we could adjust so that learner will not get bored or will not get into anxiety. So how we could adjust that, right? And this is where, if we could find our scenarios according to this range, that would be more engaging, and it will provide a scaffolding effect for learners to learn more. So let's jump into scenario based learning. First of all, scenario based learning will be not linear. Okay, you have multiple paths to reach to your goal or destination. We should contextualize our scenarios, and that's how one key element to engage learners and enhance learning. And how we could have role specific scenarios, like for nursing staff, for example, for physician, for learner, for patient. So each and every role you can set more specific scenarios, and story is very important. So if you have a strong story, then the scenario based learning will be a fun, right? So scenario based learning, the key elements, first of all, we need to have some sort of challenge, okay, and how we could incorporate these challenges and contextualize this challenge, and then provide some choices or hypotheses to learner and let the learner pick these choices. And once learners select any particular choice or hypothesis, there must be a certain consequences of that choice or that decision they have made. So we should know all possible choices or hypotheses for a particular challenge or scenario, and then we can provide consequences. And feedback is very important. So we should incorporate feedback for each and every stage and make sure the scenario is balanced. Don't just go into depth in one challenge and you have 10 or 15 choices, then it will be, not balanced scenario. So try balanced scenario. And then story again is very important. So spend some time in storyboarding, come up with the storyboard and write down all possible scenario options in the scenario, and all possible paths a learner can take, and how we could make it more contextualized. Okay, so this is the same thing which I'm just trying to highlight, how we can design the scenario-based learning where we have challenge and we have choices or hypothesis, and each and every hypothesis will lead to certain consequences. So this is a simple scenario, and here we have even more branched scenarios where we even lead to further, like after one consequence we can actually lead to another challenge to help learner to identify or verify the hypothesis or treatment they are going to suggest. So this is where we could incorporate a series of branch scenarios, and it's all up to us how nicely we could design these scenarios or challenges, and uh, learner will not get bored, and they will keep on moving forward and achieving the objectives. Okay, this is a sample of scenario storyboard where a situation or scenario here is very simple. I just shared here for your, just for sample. You could even enhance it or make it more, contextualize and add your scenarios, patient come to dental clinic with severe pain of his tooth. So this is the situation. This is how the developer will contextualize based on this text. Then we have challenge one, how to tackle the pain. So what you want to achieve, what learner should achieve. That's where you could incorporate that learning in the challenge. And what is the first thing you should do as a dentist? So there will be some choices provided to learners, and then once they pick the choice, type in your choices so that developer could convert all this into more interactive content, and then consequences. And this is a second challenge. So it all depends where you would like to link this challenge number to which consequence. Okay, so this is a sample storyboard, and you could actually copy more uh, slides like this or tables like this to add on more scenes, okay. And we can gamify also if learner picks uh, the first choice which is more appropriate or accurate, and give them additional marks or badges or stars, and that would help learners to learn, like motivate to learn or achieve higher degree of uh, these badges and all that, or additional points. Okay, let me share with you the framework we use behind this virtual medical clinic case scenario design and development. Here in this framework, we use the principle of experiential learning and hypothetical, deductive, and think aloud approach gives reflective practice and Gagne's 9 events of instruction. And we incorporate all these principles or theories into our framework. And we have actually put all steps in detail in this picture. And I have published this paper with Prof. Shahid Hassan in one of the journal. I'll be sharing the link also. So if you want to know more how we converted bedside teaching into online or beside teaching, and implemented all these principles or theories inside, and converted that into interactive online um, cases. Okay, so this is the QR code where you can scan and can download the article, and we have explained in detail how we could actually use all these theories and design our cases. This is one of the sample case where I would like to share, and the QR code is there. So the first screen is the landing page where you have a history of a patient who have a head injury and brought into emergency, and age is mentioned there. So that's how you started in a virtual environment, and learners can interact with all this content. And it is actually a football player and brought in an emergency room. And you could the moment you start taking history, our investigation is embedded inside history examination and management by asking questions and answering the questions by the learner. And here we are sharing the sample of patient history as a dialogue between the doctor and the patient. And here we can show some of the vital signs, of the patient. And we could investigate whether this case brought in with help of MIR, with the help of X-rays or MIR or a few other supplementary tests where we could investigate, and try to uh, do investigate and identify whether it's external dural hemorrhage or subdural or concussion. So all this is embedded inside this interactive case, and at the end there's a strong feedback given. So if you want, due to short of the time, I won't be going in detail into the case itself, but the QR code is shared here. You can scan and can practice. And in real uh, life, I mean, in a real scenario also, we do allow learners to repeat and complete multiple times until you reach to satisfactory level of stars. We normally grade as a stars. 3 is the maximum star, and one is like the patient is not satisfied with the treatment or diagnosis. Okay, so by practicing this, we are building these diagnostic skills in our learner, and they can practice. And element of gamification is there to even have a leaderboard, and the learner who actually answers at the first attempt will get more marks, right? So that's the end of my talk. And if you want to contact, this is detail here. And thanks for your time. We'll be taking the questions and at the question and answer sessions after all other talks by my colleagues also. So if you want to know more, this is my WordPress and SlideShare and my Twitter